Oh, what is going on, YouTubers? For ladies and gentlemen, it's the Natural Born Thriller, and welcome everyone to Impact Wrestling Review, the show from February 2nd on Groundhog's Day, 2021. They were at Nashville, Tennessee. Your commentators are not Josh Matthews. I love saying that, by the way. Fuck Josh Matthews. I'm glad he's gone. Still works for the company behind the scenes, higher up now, whatever he does. Good, he can stay there. Because we got Matt Striker and D'Lo Brown. And we're tends to Twitch the whole thing with the whole coverage of what's going on with the show of Impact Wrestling. At least has someone be there if Mr. Santos can't be there. Because they've done before, obviously. I don't understand what's going on with Melissa Santos. Some people are saying that she's gone from Impact Wrestling or whatever. I don't know. I haven't even bothered looking up to see if that's true or not, but I don't know what's going on with Mrs. Santos. I mean, she's on Instagram. She looks fine. It's not like she's got COVID-19 or anything. She doesn't have COVID-19, by the way. I'm just saying. But she looks fine to me. I don't know what's going on. Don't know why she's not back yet. I don't know if she is gonna be leaving. I don't know if she is gone. I don't know. We haven't seen her lately on Impact Twitch. Returns to the Twitch TV. Returns to the coverage for Impact Wrestling. For I guess you could say for about 2 months now. Like, what's the deal here? I don't know what to tell you. But I'll tell you one thing. Surge. Life's a scream. Just saying. Anyways, but it's whatever. Let's just get to the show here because I got something to say about the show. For things that needs to be talked about. So, the Knockouts Tag Team Champions comes out. Tasha Steelz goes up against Havoc. Tasha Steelz being accompanied by Kiera Hogan and Havoc is being accompanied by Nevaeh. So they still continue on this feud with Havoc and Nevaeh with Fire and Flavor, which eventually is going to be leading to a Knockouts Tag Team Championship title match. Which that's something to look forward to. As long as as long as Fire and Flavor can still retain the titles. I'm not ready for them to lose the belts yet, especially this quickly after they won the tournament. Because what was the point of them winning the tournament if they're just gonna lose it in a couple whenever they decide to do the match? I don't know. Hopefully they'll still the champions for a couple more months. Let's at least give them that, because they're doing a great job of what they're doing on Impact Wrestling, despite how sometimes shitty it could be, and they try to make it work too. Especially that, oh my god, that dumpster fire and flavor fest they did. Jeez. But the match itself, I was seeing myself with it, because I was thinking about last week's Impact Wrestling. Why is Tasha Steelz wrestling against Havoc? Because Nevaeh was the one who attacked Tasha Steelz. So why is Tasha Steelz wrestling against Havoc? And then later on, they announced Kiera Hogan's going to be facing Nevaeh next week. And I see myself, why is Kiera Hogan's going to be facing Nevaeh next week? Because Havoc attacked Kiera Hogan last week. And I'm saying this again. Why is Kiera Hogan facing Nevaeh next week? I don't know if they mixed it up, whatever. I don't know. To me, it just made no sense there, because would it make sense for Tasha Steelz to face Nevaeh for what she did, and Kiera Hogan to face Havoc on base of what she did? But it's whatever. Match itself, it was decent. In the end, it was Havoc getting the win. Basically, it was cheating from Kiera Hogan, grabbing the leg of Havoc, and then Tasha Steelz try to get to Havoc. Also, she gets tripped over too. Referee got distracted for that one. But basically, what happened? The referee did catch Havoc. The referee called Kiera Hogan catch hold on to Havoc's foot, and then that's when Tasha Steelz tried to take advantage of it, and then there was Nevaeh tripping the leg of Tasha Steelz, and then in the end, Tasha Steelz received a tombstone power driver by Havoc and got the win. So there you go. And this whole thing will continue on next week on Impact Wrestling. This show happened last week after Impact Wrestling went off the air when the whole thing with Ken Shamrock, enraged going on, being up on the referee Brandon Tully, and Sammy Callahan at one point told him, "Okay, that's enough. We can go now." But he not only he didn't listen to Sammy Callahan, but he attacks Sammy Callahan and knocks him out. And then we got Shakiri's coming out. You have referees out there too, but they didn't get in the ring because they didn't want to try with Ken Shamrock. But we had Shakiri's coming in there, and they got their asses kicked. And Sammy Callahan at that point, he's left. He was gone. So then we go to in the office of Scott Demoy, the Impact Executive Vice President of the company. He basically has Sammy Callahan in his office saying that Ken Shamrock, the Hall of Famer, the world's most dangerous man, is suspended indefinitely. Again, after his actions. And I'm saying to myself, this is stupid. Because first of all, Scott Demoy is talking about all this stuff that Ken Shamrock has been doing. And I'm saying to myself, but you and the rest of Impact Wrestling induct him into the Hall of Fame. And during the time we was going into the Hall of Fame, before Bound for Glory, he turned heel out of nowhere. With things with Sammy Callahan and Eddie Edwards, the whole thing, because plans changed during that time where things went downhill from there. It was stupid. So now they're moving away. Ken Shamrock and Sammy Callahan are away from each other, and Sammy Callahan agrees to it. I agree. He's like, I fired him anyways after what he did because he didn't listen to me. He attacked me and everything. It's like, he agreed to the decision. I said, so, what? Are you kidding me? What is this? What was the point of them being a tag team? What was the point of them being together? And then we get to this point, like, what the fuck? That's the way they're gonna break up the whole thing. Like, what's the real reason why they're breaking this whole thing up for? Huh? What the hell? This makes no sense at all. Like, it's just like it makes no sense that you had to turn Ken Shamrock heel. And here's the thing too. The announcement of Ken Shamrock going to the Hall of Fame was already announced during that time, by the way. And then once we get close to Bound for Glory, that's when they decided to turn him heel. And then once we got to Bound for Glory, he's in the Hall of Fame and all that, and then he's back to and then and then we had to pretend that kayfabe doesn't exist during that time, and then we finally get back to the whole point where he's a heel and everything. The whole thing with Eddie Edwards involvement with the whole thing with Sammy Callahan. All this, like, I don't understand this at all. I really don't get it. I don't understand who's behind the book on this. I don't understand how they even agree that to have that be a story, and the story just goes in a different direction, and they can't keep it on a straight and narrow of it. This was a waste of my fucking time. And I'm pretty sure it was a waste of everyone else's time too, for those who watched these shows. So then we get to the Impact World Champion Rich Swann and Tommy Dreamer. They're discussing the match against Moose and Chris Bay for the main event. Basically, Rich Swann wants us to carry the match, while Tommy Dreamer just stay in the corner for retains to just Rich Swann does all the work. Basically saying that Tommy Dreamer can't do it anymore because he's past his prime. He's not actually saying that, but we all know he was saying that with that. And Tommy Dreamer did not like that, because and he had the look on his face like, Ray, you don't trust me? You think I'm all washed up and everything? Yeah, you are. You're not. That's the truth. Obviously that's the truth. In a way, I agree with Rich Swann, and that's going to be the story that's going to be built up for Tommy Dreamer and Rich Swann. When we get to No Surrender on February 13th, which is on the birthday of Tommy Dreamer, 50 years old. So can't wait for that one. But yeah, I digress. So there you go. We'll get to the main event later. The Impact World Tag Team Champions, the Good Brothers, the Machine Gun Carl Anderson, and the Big LG Doc Gallows. They're talking about Private Party, their match at No Surrender, and also they get confronted by the Beer Guns, which is Dream Storm and Chris Sabin, and basically they want a shot at the tag titles, and they say they want it right now and everything, and then they declined at one point because I think it was something about they wanted to fight them if not could get a title shot on this night. Um, and they're like, no, we always no, there's no need for that and everything because plus, cause, and basically they're making excuses to Good Brothers. They're making excuses because of them going to be in the match on AEW Dynamite Beach Break with Kenny Omega, and they want to be 100% and everything. So that's why they didn't want to fight them on there for the titles, and then they want to fight them in generally because they got they got a reason. They got business to go and everything, and they said to them, the Good Brothers said to them that next week. So next week it'll be a match between the Impact World Tag Team Champions, Doc Gallows and Carl Anderson versus Beer Guns, which is James Storm and Chris Sabin. And some of you are probably thinking to yourself, this kind of make no sense because Private Party is getting a title shot, which they are. We'll get to more of that later. So there you go. That was that segment. Didn't really care about the segment that much, anyways. Madman Fulton with Ace Austin versus the Walking Weapon, Josh Alexander. At yourself, it was decent. Didn't last that long. So yeah, I enjoyed the match for what it was. Back and forth. In the end, it was Josh Alexander getting the win over Madman Fulton with the double unhook power driver, which in Ring of Honor, one of the Briscoes, Jay Briscoe, calls it the Jay Driller. But yeah, that's a good finisher there for Josh Alexander either way. So, Brian Myers, he comes to the ring. He's got an eye patch on, but he goes in there and he talks about he had that eye injury from Fallah Bahh, and then it got even worse when Eddie Edwards from last week when he started buying basically Eddie Edwards buying Brian Myers, and basically Eddie Edwards saying, not Eddie Edwards, Brian Myers saying to Eddie Edwards that he's the most unprofessional wrestler, and he's a glorified stunt man. And Sam said, "Well, you know, Ric Flair." But during this case, I was agreeing with him because I'm getting sick and fucking tired of this Eddie Edwards being this character that he is right now. But he says, Brian Myers, he would like nothing more to defeat Eddie Edwards in the match at No Surrender, but unfortunately, he's not medically clear. And he says something about, before something happened, he came and they start saying that he is the franchise of Impact Wrestling. From right there, he lost me. I was on his side for a little bit, just for a little bit, when he said all these things about Eddie Edwards, and then all of a sudden when he threw that bullshit in there that he's the franchise of Impact Wrestling. I say, so I can't do this shit anymore. Brian Myers, the franchise of Impact Wrestling. He was not even in the franchise in WWE with that defeat streak he had. He's not even compared to Jay Lethal being the franchise of Ring of Honor. Not even compared to AJ Styles during his days in TNA Wrestling of him being the franchise. He is not even compared to Sting from WCW of being the franchise. He's not even compared to being the franchise James Douglas himself in general in pro wrestling. So this is how far we gone with Brian Myers now. First of all, comparing himself to being like Shawn Michaels out of his former tag team, Matt Cardona, saying that he's the Jannetty and he's the Michaels. And now we're going to a point now that he is he's the franchise of Impact Wrestling. So then Eddie Edwards comes out, and I say himself, well, things going to get even worse now. But he starts attacking Brian Myers, and then all of a sudden, Hernandez comes out for Brian Myers. I'm like, what's going on here? What? Of all things for Hernandez to get involved, he's involved with Brian Myers and Eddie Edwards. But because he was signed with Brian Myers and being by Eddie Edwards, I was cool with that. And then Matt Cardona comes out and saves Eddie Edwards. And all I could think about when I saw this is like, Matt Cardona? Coming to the aid of Eddie Edwards? Are you serious, bro? Then we get to Johnny Swinger's palace, if you want to call it a palace, with Johnny Bravo, who's underpaid. They were playing poker, wherever I'm assuming. Basically with Johnny Bravo, Falaba, and Alicia Edwards. And when I saw Alicia Edwards, I said to myself, why is she even there? What is the point of Alicia Edwards being there? I'm not talking about with her being there because she's married to Eddie Edwards. I'm not talking about with her being a wrestler. I'm talking about why is she there in a segment with Johnny Bravo, Johnny Swinger, and Falaba? Is she having an identity crisis or something? They have her doing this, and then this, and then this, and then another thing from there, and now she's doing this where she's feeling sorry for Johnny Bravo? By the way, the streamer girls were there too. The one girl I find cute. The other two look like crack whores. Oh my god. And the Fall Boss says something funny. Cause I laughed at it. I laughed when he said it because I was. But here's what happened. He says something to something that referenced Groundhog's Day, because it was Groundhog's Day on this episode. And then once he said that, I had a stare at the screen like this, and then I started cracking laughing. I don't know. I just find it funny the way it was done, and then because when he said that, also it was over. The segment was over, and that's why I stared at the screen for with a bland look on my face, I should say, and then I started cracking laughing. But then we get to Eddie Edwards thanking Matt Cardona, and they want to head to Impact Management because they want to have a match against Brian Myers and Hernandez at No Surrender at Impact which could be on Impact Plus. Well, Ace, I'll say one thing. Yeah, even though I hate this shit, I'll say one thing. At least Impact Wrestling is advertising No Surrender on Impact Plus, for a couple weeks now. Because usually they'll delay them, and then they'll start doing the put them all together on that same episode where we're getting ready to go to their show on Impact Plus on that same week. That's always been my problem with that. But this one, they basically advertise a couple of them before we get to that point for that week. So I'll give them that. But am I excited to see this match? The only thing I'm excited for is Matt Cardona, because he's always ready. Am I gonna be still be okay with this match happening? No, because you got Brian Myers and Eddie Edwards in there, and Hernandez. I feel bad for Hernandez to be some way, because ain't he supposed to be trying to get the money back from those that stole from him, from Falaba stole that from Hernandez, Fire and Flavor stole that from Falaba. Johnny Stringer stole that from Fire and Flavor, and that's what Johnny Stringer's got right now. He's got a roll of money. And why is this whole thing happening with Johnny Stringer? Johnny Stringer and the whole thing with Johnny Bravo being with him, basically working for him, because that's what he gets for not choosing Johnny Stringer to be his best man, to be his best swing man. So where since that whole wedding garbage shit they did. So there you go. Moving on. Crazy Steve with Rosemary versus Larry D with AC Romero. So Larry D and Crazy Steve had a match. It was decent, with Larry D winning with the best right hand, something like that. I can't remember what it was called. But after the match, Rosemary stands her ground to Triple XL as they retreat because they were scared, and that was it. Also, we get to Gia Miller. She interviews Trey Miguel, the returning Trey Miguel. And basically, it pertains to Trey Miguel making a shocking return to Impact Wrestling. So he says that he said ever since he came back to Impact Wrestling, he had two crutches by his side. But now he's here to prove that he's always been able to stand on his own 2 feet, which I'm looking forward to see that. All of a sudden, Sami Callihan comes out of nowhere and interrupts the interview, tells GM Miller to go away. So Trey Miguel was getting to have a fight with him, but he's like, "Hey, I'm not here to fight." And basically, Sami Callihan, basically brags about he claims that Trey Miguel hasn't had the passion to be successful. And I say to myself, yeah, he does. The problem is Impact Wrestling never given that opportunity to really show some passion, to really prove himself that he is that damn good. I mean, yes, they gave him opportunities: X Division Championship title match, World Championship title match, which is Impact Wrestling, tag team title match as well. At that one point, going up against Moose at one point, and gave him other singles matches too, and all. And they never went all the way with him, which I never understood why. But maybe this is their ways to right their wrongs with Trey Miguel. Hopefully, they don't disappoint. But there you go. But that's gonna be the program. Sami Callihan versus Trey Miguel. Is it going to be a no surrender? I don't know. They didn't really say. But I guess we'll find out next week, or should I say, we're gonna find out. I love saying that like that, by the way. Larry D tells GM Miller, because they were being interviewed about the interview that Sami Callihan interrupted, which is with GM Miller and Trey Miguel. I guess also from earlier on that day, I'm assuming. But you get to GM Miller and even Triple XL pertains to are they scared of Rosemary, whatever? And it's like, oh no, we're not scared of her. We just don't we're just not the type of dudes to hit women's. To hit a woman. Basically, that's what they're saying. Also, Tina Dashwood interrupts and says, "Well, I'm a woman. I'm not afraid to hit her." And basically, Larry D makes a note that no surrender, Impact Plus. He's right around the corner. I don't know. So I'm assuming it's gonna be Larry D and Tina Dashwood versus Decay, which is Crazy Steve and Rosemary. So basically, they're gonna be outnumbered either way, because you also have K with a K and AC Romero on their side. Meanwhile, Rosemary and Crazy Steve, who do they got? No one, because Chris Parks, who is Abyss, he's in WWE right now. He's an agent for WWE, so it sucks. Really sucks for Decay here, unless they get recruit a new member for to build up Decay to be something to be a faction. We'll see. But as of right now, Decay is just a mixed tag team stable in a way. Susan with Knockouts champion Deonna Purrazzo and Kimberly versus Jordan Grace with Jazz. So it's basically Susan versus Jordan Grace. Before the match started, well, actually the match just started, but during the match, when it started, Susan was like, "Wait, let me take off my glasses. Wait, let me take off my jacket." I don't know if she took off her jacket that much, but also Jordan Grace, she couldn't take it anymore. She attacks Susan, beats up on Susan. We get a lot of outside involvement. There was a little chaos happening outside of the ring. Jazz got her ass kicked by Deonna Purrazzo. That's basically how I saw it. I'm basically calling it as I saw it. She got her ass kicked. Kimberly got her ass kicked by Jazz for at one point, or maybe by Jordan Grace. I can't remember. But Jordan Grace was getting her ass kicked too, by the way, because at one point, Kimberly and Deonna Purrazzo being up on Jordan Grace. Referee's been distracted a little bit of Susan, and then when Jazz trying to help Jordan Grace, referee was being distracted there as well, told her to go back on that side. And in the end, Jordan Grace did get the win on Susan. And there you go. Hey, at least I'll say this. At least Jordan Grace won the match. As far as the Susan character, who's basically being, her character is a Cameron. As long as Susan doesn't win matches, I'm good, because her character should not be winning matches unless because Deonna Purrazzo and Kimberly become a factor of her winning matches. Other than that, she should not be winning any matches clean. After the match, Deanna Purrazzo, Kimberly, and Susan goes to attack Jordan Grace. Jazz gets in there to help out a little bit, but numbers gang. So it's a 3-on-2 beatdown. All of a sudden, ODB. Now, I knew she was going to be returning, but I was not expecting this night for her to return. But ODB comes out, and she clears the ring, and she stands alongside with Jordan Grace and Jazz. Wow. So you got a legend from the 90s in Jazz, another legend in Impact Wrestling, TNA Wrestling, whichever you want to say, or the Knockouts division, from the 2000s and the 2010s in ODB, excuse me, and then you got Jordan Grace, who's a new on Knockouts, since in the late 2010s into the 2020s. So yeah, it's like the best of three generations. Represents women's wrestling at this point. So yeah, as far as Jazz is she's sticking around a little bit more because she was on the verge of retiring at one point, and she's decided to just keep on doing what she's got to do. And hey, praise, she could still do it. We get to a private party. They're having this conversation with Matt Hardy about what's going on with this whole thing with Chris Sabin and James Storm going up against the Good Brothers for the Impact World Tag Team titles. And Matt Hardy's basically telling them to calm down. This is working out as a new direction of a plan, because it doesn't matter who wins the belts, because at the end of the day, you guys are still getting your shots at the titles. Doesn't matter who it's going to be on that week. Where on that week they're going to be wrestling, kicking each other's asses. And then once we get to No Surrender, which is going to be on that Saturday, after Tuesday's Impact Wrestling show, and then we go to Saturdays on that week, while Private Party is going to be 100% in everything, but we don't know if that's for sure, unless they want to have it, unless they do something on Dynamite, or maybe but the point is, Matt Hardy he's got a plan. Basically, Private Party gets an advantage, pertains to whoever it may be, to be being the tag team champions. Obviously, it's going to be the Good Brothers. I don't see James Storms and Chris Sabin win the belts. That's just me. But that was basically the segment, and it was whatever. Tony Khan and Tony Schiavone, by the way, they're another paid advertisement for AEW, where it chance to the AEW Beach Break, which I'll get to that when I do the reviews of that. So they basically talk about the matches happening on there and everything, and basically they're all they'll have their own theme of Beach Break, where it tends to wearing Hawaiian shirts. Tony Schiavone was wearing a shark hat and a shark sunglasses. I don't remember if Tony Khan had sunglasses on, whatever. No, I don't think he didn't. But he had some kind of drink, like a pineapple cup that had some drink, which I'm pretty sure is probably alcohol in there, like a margarita or something like that. Because he was kind of promo, basically putting down, like he always do it every week on Impact Wrestling. But this one, he was drunk, where he's like being all cocky and everything. Like, oh my god, this is even more cringier than ever. Like, it was bad enough that he was sober and being all cringy and awkward. Well, all these things, doing this Impact Wrestling, you ain't nothing what compares to AEW, whatever, and blah blah blah. And now here's Tony Khan, drunk, drinking margarita or something like that, whatever he's drinking in that pineapple cup he got. He's just talking things like, I'm like, what is he talking about? And I'm like, oh my god, this is that's Tony Khan for you. And that was it. Jordan Grace, Jazz, and ODB. So she asked if ODB is back, and ODB said yes, she is back, and doesn't give a clear-cut answer. Wait. Well, yeah, I think that's what happened. She didn't give a clear-cut answer of it. She probably may be drunk with her own liquor, but she mentions Jazz. I mean, Jazz mentioned, I meant to say, that she's a veteran in the wrestling business, or Impact Wrestling and everything. And they all started talking and everything, chatting and everything. But yeah, OBD, yo, she is back now, folks. But yeah, and then they start ending it by doing the bam on their breasts. Um, I never expect that from Jordan Grace, but hey, I loved it. Yeah, I expect that from ODB, bam, and Jazz, not so much, but Jordan Grace, I like. Hey, I love basically I love how she did it. So there you go. All right, then we get to the X Division champion TJP versus Ray Rajul. If Ray Rajul defeats TJP, then he'll be getting an opportunity at the title on No Surrender, which I hate, by the way, folks, because if you have TJP lose to Ray Rajul in a one-on-one match and he's the champion, you make him look like a chump. Why do I get the feeling that there's someone that works for WWE is working for Impact Wrestling and then booking this shit? Because this is what WWE does. They treat the champions like chumps when they have their one-on-one matches, and meanwhile they're the champion, even though it's not on the line, and they lose. Oh, because it's not a title on the line, they can lose. But when the title's on the line, they're good. New Japan Pro Wrestling does it better. Why can't they? Match happens. It was great. Actually, I don't think it was great. Well, maybe it's because TJP is great. Ray Rajul, he was just doing some awkward Stone Cold elbow thing, and I kept referencing that he's the Desi Stone Cold, something like that. The Desi elbow drop, and then the Desi 316 says, "I just whip your ass." Give me a Desi, yeah, whatever. I was basically doing that as I was watching the show, because when and this is the first time he did this, by the way, folks. He did them before. And I was just waiting for him to do a stunner so I could call it the Desi stunner. But anyways, it was decent for what it was. And then we get to TJP going under the ring, and Rohit is distracting the referee, and all of a sudden TJP is gasping grasping, I meant to say, because all of a sudden he's being beaten up by Mahabali Shera. So yes, the Indian John Cena in Mahabali Cena has returned. Even though he was the same guy who was with Ray Rajul, where they ended the whole Desi hit squad. But now he's back to help out Ray Rajul. And by the way, that was the person that Ray Rajul was talking to last week to be there for him, and he agreed. I was not expecting Muhammad Shira, or should I say Muhammad Cena. So Ray Rajul wins. He gets a title shot at No Surrender. Whoopee. Eric Young, he explains why he intrude the Violent by Design of attacking Christian Jake to come out for good. It's because he was willing to have Jake to come home so he could put holy water on him to change his life around, like he did with Cody Deaner, who's now Cole Deaner. So he wants Jake, basically wants Cousin Jake. He says, Jake, join the Violent by Design. So Gio Miller interviews Cousin Jake. Basically, the answer is, what's going to be his answer? And he says, well, I'm not going to have an answer right now, because he's not sure what to think right now, but he'll give the answer to them, Violent by Design, next week. And we shall see. Matches announced for next week on Impact Wrestling on a Tuesday on the Gome Show for till we get to No Surrender. ODB will battle Kier Hogan, will battle Nevaeh. The Good Brothers will defend their Impact World Tag Team Championships against Beer Guns. Rich Swann and Tommy Dreamer will have a contract signing to make it official for the match at No Surrender for the Impact World Championship. I meant to say. And then we get to the main event. The Impact World Champion Rich Swann and Tommy Dreamer versus the TNA World Heavyweight Champion Moose and Chris Bay. And the match was good. Except for one thing. Tommy Dreamer. Tommy Dreamer, oh my god. He couldn't keep up that much. And bless him for still doing what he's doing. But it's time to call it quits. Hopefully, by the No Surrender, he'll be done with wrestling. But then again, I digress. He probably won't, that probably won't happen because he's influence of Terry Funk, one of his all-time favorites in professional wrestling. So it will not surprise me if Tommy Dreamer wants to keep doing this, like how Terry Funk is doing this right now. Even though Terry Funk is also very, very old. So I'm assuming that's what Tommy Dreamer's wanted to do. He want to keep wrestling like Terry Funk is in his old age. How old is he? What? Terry Funk is what? 60? 70? He looks like it. And he's still wrestling. Yeah. If you don't believe me, look it up. Terry Funk is still wrestling. And he's an old motherfucker. One of the all-time greats, by the way. The all-time greats. He's one of my all-time favorites. I love his character, Chainsaw Charlie from WWE. Attitude Era, by the way. WWF, I should say. Anyway, the match itself was great. Like I said, it was great, but Tommy Dreamer, he was not great in this match. And there was some miscommunications there with Rich Swann and Tommy Dreamer. And then at one point, Rich Swann got out of the way. No, actually, Tommy Dreamer got out of the way of Moose's lights out spear and hits Rich Swann, which the way it was done perfectly because the whole thing with Rich Swann and Tommy Dreamer where they're supposed to be opponents, they're partners, but they're gonna be opponents at No Surrender, and then all this is going on. It's gonna be some tensions where it's gonna lead to next week on Impact Wrestling. But in the end, it was Moose getting the win by pinning Rich Swann, and so Moose and Chris Bay got the win. And that was in the show. Oh yeah, after the match, Moose turns his attention to Tommy Dreamer and lays him out too with a lights out spear, and then stands tall with the Impact World title up, and also not only with his TNA World Heavyweight Championship title on the line, not only with his TNA World Heavyweight Championship title above him, but also the Impact World Heavyweight Championship above him as well. Basically, Moose can be a double champion whenever he gets that shot. I'm assuming they're gonna build it up until we get to Rebellion, and yeah, we'll see what happens with that one because it's gonna be in April, by the way. Impact Wrestling Rebellion is gonna be in April, so they got a long way to build this up. This whole thing with Moose and Rich Swann, and the right step right there, the right step right now is is stalling, but at the same time they're stalling at the expense by having Tommy Dreamer wrestling against Rich Swann. But there you go, folks. That was it for this edition of Impact Wrestling from February 2nd, 2021. And this was on Groundhog's Day. So, by the way, happy late Groundhog's Day to everyone. And also, pertains to Groundhog's Day, the Groundhog, Phil, the Groundhog, who did see his shadow, which means we got 6 more weeks until winter is over. Talking about wrestling were 6 matches and my overall rating for the show. I'm gonna give this show. The show was alright, decent at best. I'm gonna go over 6.5 out of 10. 6.5 is a good one. There was a couple of good matches and a couple of things I did enjoy, except for a few other things which I already seen of my reaction of that and my response of it. So 6.5 out of 10. And that being said, thank you all for watching. If this is the first time experiencing yours truly, Natural Born Driller, right here on YouTube, please subscribe and hit the notification bell for more future contents, especially your favorites and mine's Taking Out the Trash series. Also like and dislike the video. Either way, don't matter how you do it, but to all your supporters and haters, thank you for your encouragements and your motivation by showing that I am here to give you the absolute best content I can give you with an Orange Cassidy thumbs up as I possibly can. And look at my description box for my information as well pertains to Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Tumblr, And anything else that's down there is all there. And with that being said, you all stay well, stay safe, take care of yourself for everything that's going on in the world. Wear your mask, wear your gloves, love one another, God bless one another, and live in peace and harmony for us all. For I am Mala here. Ta-ta for now. For It's the Natural Born Driller, saying peace on the streets. Take care.